Austraeoh by Imploding Colon, read by Deathlight, Chapter 96, Landmark. Rainbow knew she had ascended to heights like this before. Cloudsdale, where she was born, was higher than any mountain in Austraeoh. Still, as she glided endlessly upwards to scale a jagged summit, she gnashed her teeth against the biting cold, wincing in disbelief. When she first saw the mountain, she thought her eyes were deceiving her. Nothing that large and rigid should have existed. Regardless, when she set out that morning to pierce the eastern horizon, there it was. A monumental promontory of granite construction, occupying a great deal of the sky. Rainbow had to pause several times on random cliff faces before she could fly any further. Those were tense, shallow-breath moments, spending panting in frustration, as she clung to the earthen beams that refused to budge. It occurred to her she could have very easily flown around the immense structure. The Pegasus spat on the rock, her saliva frozen a blink. Cracking her joints and flexing her wings, Rainbow momentarily shot up again. The wall of rock became her ground, surging past her as she bulleted towards the ceiling of the world. The blueness in the sky turned into a mute haze as Rainbow felt like her lungs were shrinking. Concentrating on breathing was the one thing that kept her mind off of freezing. She felt the blood pulsating through her vessels as she finally came to the top of the mountain and leveled out on a ridiculously thin plateau. She landed with numb hooves and trotted weakly towards the opposite cliff. She both anticipated and feared what would be on the other side of this great barrier. If it was already the edge of the world, somehow she wouldn't have been shocked. What she saw almost took the last remaining breath out of her. She slumped down to her haunches and slipped the shaded goggles up to her brow. Wiping a sheen of snowy frost off her face, she blinked her ruby eyes hard and gazed into the expanse. There was no more world, all was swirling mist, clouds and fog. Occasionally a sharp mountain or two would rise up through the ceiling of moisture, daring to pierce the heavens with a fraction of audacity that Rainbow embodied. As the sun shone down over the glittering peaks and bubbling clouds below, everything glittered with a platinum shine. As if a hovering pool of flame had chosen to baptize the middle lengths of the mountains teeming below Rainbow Dash's twitching hooves. It suddenly occurred to her that something very special had happened that moment. Rainbow glanced down at where her legs were contacting the lifeless, frost-speckled rock at the mountain's peak. She imagined that she was the only soul to make contact with that very rock. Furthermore, she highly doubted that any other pony in the rest of unwritten history would ever stumble upon this site. Even if she left a landmark to tell of her having been there, what purpose would it serve? That peak was likely to be left untouched, undisturbed, and virtually unseen for dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of years after Rainbow Dash's hooves had stopped scratching it. Suddenly, the thought of leaving a landmark was no longer important to her. No pony else in the legacy of the universe would be bound to know of that spot, of that scenery, of the beauty and wonder it entailed. The only permanence it would ever have would be for Rainbow, for she had lived that moment and would carry it to her grave, like a personal time capsule engraved with the stone surface of her soul. She smiled. It was the first time in weeks she had actually felt proud of something. Rainbow Dash kicked off the cliff and flew into the platinum brilliance. She was careful to resist the urge to dive, in order to preserve the blood that was pulsing through her electrified heart.